What's cracking, everyone? My name is Ryan, and today I want to talk to you guys about the iFi Zen Air DAC. Now, this is a budget DAC amp unit from iFi Audio, and it's part of the Zen series, only on the lighter side, quite literally. Now, before I get started, I do want to thank iFi for sending this unit out for review. They're not paying me for it, so all thoughts and opinions are of my own. So this retails in at just $99, so it definitely fits the budget category for a DAC amp solution. Inside the box, you're going to get the unit itself, of course, but then you're also going to get two cables that I do want to show you. Now, the first one is just a blue USB-B to USB-A cable. Now, this is pretty darn short, to be honest, but this will connect you to laptop, PC, anything like that. Like I said, that plugs into the back, that plugs into your source. And then you also get another cable, which is a 5-volt DC type power cable. So this will plug into the device. This will plug in again, can be to a computer or just to a wall plug-in. Now this will give it power. You don't need to have both plugged in if you have it plugged into something that will give it power through the other USB-B. Now the unit itself is very lightweight. It's almost like a hollow type feeling. It's made entirely of plastic. Even the knobs and everything on this are plastic. It's got nice rubber feet at the bottom, I will say. And then as for the unit itself, starting with the back, you get RCA outs for speakers or to connect to another amp. You also get the USB-B input or 5-volt input, depending on if you're going portable. Now, one thing here is once plugged in, it has power if your PC laptop is on. Otherwise, if it's more portable, then you'll need to use also, the 5-volt to USB wall plug-in to get the power, as I mentioned, but there is no on-off power switch anywhere on the unit. Then going around to the front, you will notice an LED. Now, this will light up different colors depending on the sample rate of the audio being pushed through the device. Side note, this works best with Tidal or Qobuz. And MQA is exclusively only with Tidal, so if you want pretty colors, those are your options. If you're on another streaming service such as Amazon Music Unlimited, something like that, it may not always work with the different files that file sample rates that you're going to push through the unit. So just take note on that one. All right, so then you will see there is a power match button. Now, this is intended for keeping it off for IEMs and on for headphones. Then we see the volume pot, which I honestly do not fully care for. It's not really tight and turning, which is how I prefer my volume pots to be on analog. Then you see a single-ended 6.3 headphone IEM port, so be aware of needing a 6.3 adapter if your cables don't come that way. Then lastly, on the far right is the X bass button that is on many iFi products. We do not get the X bass on this unit, however, so again, do take note of that. All right, now as for the technical specs, the DAC is a Burr Brown multi-bit, which you will find in many of the iFi units. It supports file formats up to 32-bit and 384 kilohertz, as well as fully native DSD-256 and, of course, the magical MQA. The included op amp is a custom OV series that is said to have extremely low noise and distortion, according to iFi. Power-wise, you will get 230 milliwatt at 32 ohms, or 36 milliwatt at 300 ohms. So obviously this is not a very powerful built-in amp. It will power high impedance headphones, just you're not going to get a lot out of it. All right, so for sound impressions, I think first it's important to know what exactly I listen to on this device. So for low impedance options, I used my Focal Radiance. I used my 10 iFi T3 Plus for IEMs. I use my Meze 99 Classics, my Meze 109 Pros, which I'll be doing a review on here soon. And then upping the impedance a little bit, but still a budget option, was of course my Cost Porta Pros. And then into high impedance was my ZMF Atriums. And I'm also going to throw in the Aeon 2 Noir because that can be a little bit harder to drive as a planar, even with the impedance being low. All of my headphones that I tried on this were kind of lacking in that dynamic region, and I'm talking dynamics as in punch and slam. My bassier headphones, such as my Radiance or the Noirs or of course the 99 Classics, they weren't any less bassy. They weren't any more bassy. It was kind of a relaxed bass, and that was a little loose. It wasn't quite as tight or brought in on some higher end gear that I've listened to. And then in the treble region, it's definitely a little bit warmer in the treble, but it's definitely not dark. So, don't mistake that. If you have sibilance there, you're still going to get that out of your headphones if they produce it. But I would just call this kind of a relaxed, lazy tuning. Nothing against iFi or calling them lazy. I'm just saying that's kind of how I present the sound signature of how I can, spill that out of my brain, if that makes sense. It's kind of a lazy tuning. Now, the unfortunate loser here, I gotta say, is the X bass button. Now I'm going to talk about that now. Now, I don't know if there was any kind of a fault with my unit. I don't think there is, but this is the first time on an iFi product that the X bass button is just way, way overdone. And I'll give you some examples. On my Focal Radiance, which is a bassier headphone, I pressed the X bass button and literally the cups vibrated. I'm not kidding you, it wasn't even on a bassy track, and I was like, whoa, that's some damn bass. And I switched over then and went to my AN2 Noirs, which have a more tighter bass to them, and it almost started to rattle, and I had to flip it off right away because it was just too much. It's almost like if you're at a restaurant and you're getting a margarita and you want salt in the rim, it's like they just dumped the salt in the margarita and said, here you go. I just didn't really appreciate that for my bass, and I really don't think that's something that a lot of people would appreciate if that's truly the function of it on this product. And so, like I said, that's just my impression of it. I didn't really enjoy it. It's a little too much junk in the trunk for the bass. And all right, enough analogies there. I'm just going to move on. Also, there's not a lot of airiness to this, which, no pun intended, being called the Zen Air series, but as far as stage and things like that, it doesn't give way to much of that. So there's not a lot of upper end. So if you have headphones such as, like a Noir or something like that has some upper end region on that, it's probably going to be a little more laid back again to kind of that lazy tuning I was talking about, was the impression that I got. So in kind of wrapping up my thoughts in this product, I've been trying to think about who this is for. And obviously this is going to be for somebody on a budget. Now, in my personal opinion, I think if you're going to go for this, you should probably save up another $100 and either go to the Zen DAC V2, which honestly I've not heard, but I've heard good things about, or purchase this and then spend another $100 and get the Zen Air CAN to pair up with it, because that actually is a good combination. I'm about to do a review on that one, and as soon as I'm done with that, I will actually put that review in the comments down below. So if you watch this later, you can check that one out as well. And then, of course, there's some other iFi products, which I am not going to talk about yet, because that's also going to be in a further review that may be a better option than this. Outside of that, there's a lot of other options out there in this price range. So just, do your research and figure that out. If you already have this and you like it, then like it. This is just my personal opinion, my subjective opinion on this DAC amp. But yeah, I think it's fair to say of all iFi products that I have listened to, this has been my least favorite so far, and I'm a big fan of iFi and the products they put out. So you're bound to miss every now and then on something, and that's just kind of how I take this one. All right. I would like to thank you guys for watching this video. Hopefully you enjoyed that. If you did, please smash that like button. If you're enjoying my content, I would appreciate if you'd also subscribe to the channel. I do have more content coming out, more iFi things coming out, as well as some other things I don't want to talk about. So I will let you guys get back to doing whatever it is that you do, just as long as you're not pressing the big kaboom button on this device. All right, I'll stop now. Seriously though, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next one.